Hi everybody, it's Allison Dawrant coming to you from my studio here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I have a new set of watercolor paints from the Stoneground Paint Co. I'm going to be swatching out those with you all today, and before I start that I wanted to first show you what I've been working on, as I haven't done a video for quite some time, but I have been painting. So these little canvases are an example of sort of where my art practice has been lately. I'd say over the last 6 months. Sometimes after creating really large works on canvas over the summer, when it comes fall and winter, I really like to go back to visiting smaller works. Sometimes I think those smaller works don't take as much time, but the truth is they take a lot of time, and I can paint like a really large work, whether it's watercolor or acrylic, and it's pretty quick. But then when it comes to these smaller pieces, there's just a lot of fine details. So I don't know how much I'll be doing of these in the future, just because they take so much time. And for my style, they take a lot of attention just to kind of bring together. So these are 4-inch square gallery wide, so 1.5 inches is considered a gallery wide edge on these little cradled canvases. And you can see I sign my name up the side sometimes. I have written on here, "In every moment I carry you with me." I have some collage in here. And this one I just finished yesterday. "There are brighter days ahead." And you can see the collage going over the edge here, some of my botanical prints that I had made, some painted papers just over the summer here. And you can see the floral image going over the edge. And so yeah, this is watercolor on canvas, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of questions about whether or not I used an absorbent ground. So for those of you that know a little bit about watercolor on canvas, yes, I did use a Daniel Smith titanium white absorbent ground. I put on at least 2 coats of a fairly good layer, and that allowed me to do the watercolor without it sort of, you know, sitting on the surface and not really behaving the way that it would on paper, which is what I'm used to working on. So yeah, watercolor, and I used ink as well as collage papers. And this little leaf image was on, I believe I used like a deli paper, almost like a tissue paper, but something a bit stronger. And I got that leaf print from a bouquet from the summertime. So it has a lot of meaning to me as well. I remember when I painted this and sort of some of those papers and how I created those papers. And so I just thought I'd share these little canvases. I like the metallic watercolors, the bronze in there. It has a bit of a shimmer. And I'm really trying to just hone in on what my style really is all about. This is one that I'm not quite finished, but I've already signed up the side, and you can see this lovely image of a botanical, a leaf print that I had done in the summer as well. And it says "one day at a time," which was words that I needed to remind myself of over the last number of months, just to take one day at a time when sometimes life can feel busy and overwhelming. These little canvases as well, I had done these last year and they're not quite finished. I basically had sat down to practice using that absorbent ground, that underlayer, to prep my canvas. And I was trying to move my watercolor art poetry style, which I do on paper, onto a canvas as my substrate. And I just can't seem to pull these little ones together. I had done one and loved it, and I posted it on Instagram, and it sold instantly to another artist here in Canada. And I shipped it off, and then I went back to kind of emulate what I had done, and I just cannot get the same feel. I just can't get it right. And that's one of the reasons as an artist I don't do commissions, because I feel like you know, there's some days where the art really does kind of communicate with you. It's like we have this conversation back and forth, and I complete it. And if someone was to say, could you please redo that? Or, you know, can you do one like that, but in different colors? I couldn't do it. And it just wouldn't come out, you know, I could do it, but it wouldn't have that same sort of intuitive feel. And for me, my art really is about painting in the moment and trying to express what I'm feeling through colors and mark making and, you know, a style that I've kind of come to love. And anyways, so these, I probably will add some words to these. I'm gonna make the moon a little bit more shimmery. And if you're wondering how I finish these works, I use something called Spectrafix before I use a cold wax medium. So I'm just gonna grab that to show you. And I have this, so this is the label from Spectrafix, but this is not the actual bottle. This was a hair product that I had used up Numa hairstyling, and it was a really wonderful spray bottle. And the Spectrafix bottle, it gets really clogged. The little spray piece gets clogged as well, and so I had to transfer it into this bottle, which isn't the original, but it's the product is called Spectrafix, and it's a really fine, non-toxic, odor-free, all-natural spray made of. It has casein in it. It's what I would call, it's not a varnish. It's not like a final coat, but what it is it's almost like a fixative that will help some of these materials that I used in my work. So the watercolor, the ink, the you know, some of the watercolor crayons or pencil crayons that I used, the collage, it will help fix it. So when I later bring in my cold wax medium, it won't move, it won't smudge. So this is good, as it says, for soft pastel, oil pastel, chalk, Conte colored pencil, graphite, charcoal, I don't know what Conte is, paper, Yupo canvas, ceramic, fabric, glass, leather, wood, and stone. So a lot of purposes for this, and I just love this. It's sort of like, how do you say, sometimes I forget to use it and I will ruin my whole work. So this is just a really good fixative that's non-toxic, and if you're very sensitive to odors and chemicals like I am, you might want to try this if you're wanting to kind of fix a layer before you go ahead and do the final varnish or protective coating. And yeah, so I'm just trying to think of what else I can tell you. This one I hope to add a little bit more color to, but it's very simple. When working small though, I feel like I just needed more details in these little canvases. So I'm gonna set those aside. And I'm almost finished this one, which is on a wood panel. I'm just gonna, whoops, I'm going the wrong way here. I'm just gonna bring my tripod up. And yeah, this is probably 24 inches, and you can see it is a very wide cradled wood panel. So the back of it, I've already put these little hooks in to do the wiring. This is the back of it, and you can see the size of my hand. So this is quite a large piece, and I have mounted my watercolor paper, so essentially glued it, and I'm doing the watercolor art poetry on the front. Whoops. And you can see in here, I'm just starting this today. I want to get more of a beautiful light kind of pinky fuchsia just as a pop of color on this leaf. These little papers, these are again painted, painted collage papers that I had done over the summer, and just a variety of watercolor supplies and ink. So I'm not too sure how I'm going to pull this together yet, but I'm quite pleased with just the textures and what it looks like. And I am going to remember to use that Spectrafix, and after several coats with drying time in between, I'm going to do my cold wax medium, and that's how I'll finish this painting. And then the other one that if you have been following me, this is just a temporary frame. I was using washi tape. Actually, I'll just take it out of the mat. This is not the proper framing technique, so pretend that you didn't see me taking off the Japanese washi tape here. I'm just gonna move that aside. And this is one of my most recent art poetry paintings. And so you can see the gold moon, which is in a lot of my work, and my birds, butterflies, those little symbols that I love to use. You can see the collage papers in here. And again, the botanical collage I've been really into in here. This one almost turned out like a bird or a peacock. I can just kind of see right there. And I would say that this painting incorporates a lot of my favorite colors. And just looking at the color palette that I wanted to purchase from the Stoneground Paint Co, you know, you can see this tiger lily orange. And now this was a painting I had done before I ordered these watercolors, but you can just see that I use a lot of these colors in my work. I really love that nickel titanium yellow, which it's hard to get, like a beautiful buttery warm yellow. And so I wanted to have that watercolor as well as these shimmery ones. They're just gorgeous. So I'll make sure that I do a swatch video with you all today. But you can just see maybe how I made my choices of color, because there's so much of this color kind of pulled into this painting. And then again, someone super close to me, so one of my immediate family members was quite under the weather over the last number of months, and so I took a pause and I canceled my art shows. And honestly, it was like a well-deserved break that was so important to take, and for so many reasons. And the reason I'm telling you this is, when I was talking to my mom about going through sort of a stressful time, she said, you know, just try and take it one day at a time. And that's all you have to do is, you know, just know one day at a time, get through the day, and whatever tomorrow brings, you know, that's a new start and, you know, a new day. So that's where I got the words one day at a time, just to write on my painting. I tend to write down what is kind of on my mind and words that might help me with something that I have presently going on in my life or when I'm painting, and words that I may feel would resonate with somebody if they purchased my painting or looked at my painting. So this is one I actually had in a frame in my bathroom where I would see it every day. And so it's been up for about the last few weeks, and I think it's finished. Sometimes I like to put my art in a frame or on the wall where I can see it, and then I decide, is it really complete? But I'm pretty sure this is complete. So this painting I had titled Learning to Pace. Learning to pace myself. And for those of you that have been amazing and supporting me, and many of you have purchased my art poetry deck, my card deck, and I was able to ship these out if you had ordered before probably November 10th. And anyone who ordered after November 10th, especially around the 13th, would know that we've been in touch, because Canada Post went on strike, and that's my shipping company. So I have not been doing any shipping. Unfortunately, people that had ordered my deck after mid-November, it is just today that I believe the government has mandated Canada Post to go back into business. So if you are waiting for this for Christmas, you should get it, hopefully within the next 5 to 7 working days. Today, recording this video here is, where are we at? Oh my gosh, I don't even know what the date is today. That's just how tired I am. Anyways, I canceled my art shows and I stopped shipping temporarily just because I didn't want my original art, my art deck, sort of sitting in some warehouse while the strike was on. I had tried another company, but it was quite a drive for me to drop off my my mailing, my decks and my art. And of course, when your business is tied to a company you've been using for years, you get a discount. Anyways, so where am I going with this? I am now back to shipping, so I'm going to update my website today, and I hope everybody will get what they ordered in time for gifting it. And I just wanted to say thank you for everyone's patience, because it has not been the easiest time for small businesses like mine. So I am going to pull a card on that note. And so there's 71 cards in my art poetry for insights and inspiration art deck. This was the last video I had done, so I have not been using my card deck myself. This is a bit stiff because it is a newer deck. And there's my painting Quiet on the front there. And this is a beautiful card. I love this painting. This painting I titled A New Dawn. And on the painting, this art poetry, watercolor and acrylic painting, it says find magic in each moment. And then that's obviously how I decided to also incorporate those words on the card. So finding magic in each moment, and also one day at a time. Those are phrases that I feel are just really important to me right now in my life. And there's so much beauty in the moment. And, you know, if we can just, again, kind of turn off the past and what we're thinking about in the future and just really hone in on where we're at in this moment, how we're feeling, and maybe what we're grateful for. So this painting is a style I'd love to go back to. It's when I was still kind of finding my rhythm. I believe I painted this in 2020 or 2021, and you can see I didn't have my signature moon in this particular painting. But yeah, so I'll just leave that with you, and let's find some magical moments with this swatching from the Stoneground Paint Co. So what I thought I would do is I have 140-pound watercolor paper, which is a fairly good weight. I believe this is a very affordable brand. I think it's Canson Mixed Media 140-pound paper. And I'm just gonna, in pencil, go nickel titanium yellow, which is this one right here. And I can also link these colors in the description. And then the next one is Quinacridone, which I'll abbreviate Quin Red, which is a beautiful, beautiful, vibrant red. This next one is called Victoria Green. And this is one that I feel I would not order again, nor would I recommend. And I do love the Stoneground Paint Co. as a company. I love their watercolors, but this one, I don't know if it was something about too much binder or something in their product line, but I can't get much of a color. And it's very different than the color that was displayed on the website, which isn't typical for these guys. I feel like all of the other colors are beautiful. They're saturated. They're really great quality. All of these colors I made sure are non-toxic, which is very transparent on their website. Oops, and I forgot so Victoria Green, then Pipestone. Tiger Lily, which is that gorgeous orange iridescent shimmery one. And the next one, that bright orange, is Autumn Fox. And then Flamingo Pink. And then Pearl, which is a great one if you want to mix up your own shimmery watercolor. It's just a really good base. And then I have Golden Ochre. And then Raw Sienna Warm. And then we have Nicosia Green and Gray Ochre. I wanted a really good neutral. And so let's just start with, I'm going to use my Princeton number 12 round brush. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop a little bit of water on each, just to activate my watercolor palette, which makes a huge difference before you paint. Just let that sit for a second. So I've got my water. I've got a little sheet to clear off excess paint off of my brush. And paper towel. And we'll just do this nickel titanium yellow, which is beautiful. It's just such a beautiful buttery yellow. And then the Quinacridone Red is stunning. Beautiful. It reminds me of the Strawberry Red from Beam Paints, B-E-A-M, the Canadian company. And then this Victoria Green, you can see I'm really gonna dig into the pigment to load up my brush, and you can just tell it's very, very faint. It's almost like there's just not a lot of pigment. And I was looking for more of like an apple green, and anyways, Pipestone looks very different than it does when you see it here. It's kind of a beautiful neutral, almost like a warm rose color. And again, not heavily pigmented, but it was what I was looking for, and it was quite accurate when you look at the website. And then Tiger Lily, this is just such a beautiful color, and it has that shimmer. And Autumn Fox as well is a brighter, more orange, traditional orange hue. And then we have Flamingo Pink. Stunning pink. Almost has a hint of the Opera Pink from Daniel Smith Watercolors, that neon pink that, for those people that love pink, that's a beautiful, beautiful watercolor. And then Pearl. I'm just gonna see. Yep, you are zoomed in. And then we have Golden Ochre, which is really rich, highly pigmented, kind of a mustard yellow. And I wanted some neutrals in my art poetry paintings, just to mix with other colors, to mix these with the bright colors. So Raw Sienna Warm, it's really beautiful. And then this Nicosia Green Earth, which is still lightly pigmented. Very close to the Victoria Green. But I don't know if I'd recommend this one either. I feel like there could be more pigment. It's very beautiful. It just depends what look you're going for. And then the Gray Ochre, I wanted a nice light gray. And it's almost like a black, almost like a Mars black. So that is the palette that I chose for myself from Saskatchewan's the Stoneground Paint Co. And I believe they use the hashtag #MyStoneground. So if you want to look them up on social media and look at their website, they do. I really like how, because you can get paints that are toxic, the cadmiums, the cobalts. I have a really severe allergy to cobalt, and that can be in a lot of paints. So I went through each of these in the description on the site, and I made sure they are non-toxic. And I like that because sometimes I paint with my son who's in grade 1. It doesn't matter what grade, right? But like elementary school kids, and you know, just toxicity is something that I think is really important to be aware of. So yeah, these colors are so beautiful. I'd say my top choices on here would be the yellow for sure, the nickel titanium yellow, the Quinacridone Red, and all of these three shimmery, the Tiger Lily, Autumn Fox, and Flamingo Pink. Gorgeous. I really like Pipestone, although it's not super bright. I could see mixing it with the Flamingo Pink or maybe the Tiger Lily. And then these are just really good neutrals down here. So that's just a little swatch of those. And then I'm just deciding what I want to do. I can show you, I've been doing a lot of swatching lately. I want to show you, I'm just trying to decide. Oh my gosh, my most recent swatch is this one here. So it was really sweet. My parents had picked up this bamboo turntable at the Dollarama here in Canada. And it's awesome for my art videos and for all of my watercolors. I've recently been sent some watercolors by a few companies, which I don't plan to be associated with them. They wanted me to do videos with their supplies, and I say that I'll do it, but with no strings attached. I'm not promoting you guys. I'm just simply testing the materials. So I've had a lot of watercolors sent to me, and I have a lot of beautiful watercolors already in my collection. So basically, this is a wonderful bamboo turntable, and because of what's underneath, it's not turning that well. I love painting out of shells, so these are shells you can purchase on Beam Paint's website. So Beam, another wonderful Canadian company, woman-owned. Where's my sheet? It's an Indigenous-owned business from Manitoulin Island, and this is the name of the company here, Beam, B-E-A-M. And this was actually a seashell that I had from when I was a kid, and I was in Nova Scotia, and I paint out of this shell because it's so wonderful. And I got the idea out of Beam's website. They promote non-toxic, non-plastic ways of delivering their paint stones to their clients, and so these are some of my favorite metallics, the shimmery colors. I really love this particular color. I'm just drawing a blank. Where is it here? Ochre. And just gonna set this aside. Yeah, so Ochre is right here, and it's a gorgeous neutral grayish shimmery color, and it works so well when it's in the shell. It's just lovely. So I do love Beam paints. This is the swatch that I had done with you all not that long ago. And this is my son's palette, so he was painting with me yesterday, and I love this. Again, non-plastic, it's made of wood. This is a wonderful, they have some smaller ones that are made for kids, wonderful for a gift. And you can see that all of their paint stones come in these beeswax wrapped canvases. So this is canvas material with a tiny piece of paper around it. They're all non-toxic and light fast, I believe. This is the APA symbol, so it talks about whether or not their standard of toxicity. And yeah, so I just really can't say enough about these paints. I like to try different brands, but this is a wonderful company. You can buy, you know, these little paint stones individually, which is great. And same with the Stoneground Paint Co. They are more expensive. You'd be paying probably around $10 to $13 Canadian, which of course is not as much. It's more expensive for Canadians than say if you were to purchase from the US. But anyway, they're really worth it. But if you want to just pick a couple colors that you love and mix them, a little color goes a long way. And what else did I want to say about these? Yeah, just this little palette's great. If you use up these little canvas wrapped watercolors, you can then fill the tray with here is a well-loved tube of Daniel Smith Mayan Orange. Very well loved. So if I had anything left in here, I would just squeeze from the bottom, pushing downward, and I would fill my palette. So these I think are going to last us maybe even a lifetime. We paint with them almost every day and they barely have a dent in them. So they're really, really wonderful in terms of you get a lot. You know, it might be expensive, but you're going to have these. They're non-toxic. You're going to love them. So, and I'm not affiliated with Beam Paints. I'd like to be. I think that would be wonderful because I really do value their company. And yeah, just some of my other little swatches in here. This swatch was really impulsive and tedious, and I wouldn't do it again. I feel like when I had done the swatch, I was thinking I'd make my life easier, and when I'm painting on video, I can just use my turntable and really quickly refer to certain colors. But it's like, you know, when you just have too much choice, the paradox of choice, which is very much what I'm going through with my closet right now and my clothes. And part of my goal this next couple months is weeding out things that I don't absolutely love. And I'm sort of starting to do that with my paints or you know, organizing them in a way that I am going to use them. So this does overwhelm me right now, and I was thinking it wouldn't overwhelm me, but I'm just gonna see where it takes me. I'm so used to all of these paints that I had put on the turntable. So these ones right in this inner row, these are all gouache. And so they're from the Stoneground Paint Co. And so these are more like an opaque watercolor. So gouache is like a combination of the watercolor and acrylic and sort of the best of those qualities of those paints. And so they're not quite watercolor, they're not transparent, so very opaque. So I put all of my gouache on the inner row. But when it was in a separate container, I knew really quickly, of course, what's where. I didn't really color code this in terms of, you know, primary, secondary, like the color wheel. I didn't put all the warms together or the cools. So I really didn't think it through. But we'll see how it goes. It's all about like muscle memory and kind of jogging my memory, because I'm used to these being in their own separate little palettes. So we'll just see how we do. And I thought I'd share it with you because it's like a little work of art in itself, right? It's very beautiful. I feel very grateful to have so many colors, and very lucky to be an artist right now. And And then what I can do with you all is maybe just gonna see how we are for time, and I'm just gonna pull another card. Reach new heights and elevate your practice. So this particular watercolor painting was a very different kind of abstract landscape style, and I wrote the word elevate on here. And I'm just gonna do a quick time check. Okay, I see we're okay for time. Hopefully my phone will not die. I'm gonna see what just been out of practice here for a little while, so I'll keep this video fairly short. So what we can do, let me just see. Just gonna show you some of these little mini works. This one I had just finished not that long ago. Instead of my gold moon, I used a bronze moon, and it says remember your breath, which was inspired by an art poetry painting I had done in 2020. Those of you that follow my channel, you've probably seen that video. I'm sure you've seen that painting. I refer to it a lot. It's one of my favorite paintings with the words remember your breath, because I painted it for myself during lockdown when we were still washing our groceries and going through an awful lot. And I like to look at it when I walked by it in my hallway upstairs, and just reminded myself to take a deep breath and just remember to breathe, because this too shall pass. Here's a little art poetry painting which I had started but didn't finish. So these are all bases. So what we could do is maybe paint some of these little bases. This one, Find Your Light, I have to finish that one. It has a little collage in there. So this is sort of before they're finished. I used acrylic paint. And some days I just love to, I could sit down and just create what I call like a base, a watercolor base, and then I could just do that all day, every day. And what I don't enjoy as much is the fine details, like coming back and just finishing the paintings. So these are even smaller art poetry paintings. You've probably seen these in my video before. I think I've shared them. That one's not done yet. Slightly different style. Yeah, so this one's really vibrant. This one I had just finished not that long ago. So I think I'll probably, I might just take, I'm just going to keep this video short today. I find I've been having back issues, so I'm going to take care of myself today. My husband's also off. I can hear him in the background. It's a little bit more distracting. So he's very sweet. My husband was born deaf, and he wears hearing aids, and he doesn't do sign language. He lip reads. And but yes, sometimes appreciating the noise and how it transmits, it's not as easy, obviously, for him. And maybe I'll just leave it with this base that I had done, which says find magic in each moment. And yeah, I hope that somehow this video has inspired you. You know, if you're thinking about investing in some watercolor paints, just remembering that purchasing just a few paints, maybe your favorite colors, which you know you'll use. Don't worry too much about color theory and mixing and having like all the colors, which I know when I started, that's what I wanted. But it is worth investing in like a higher quality, just a couple, like a really small palette. I would say some of these from this palette are great to start. For instance, the nickel titanium yellow and the quinacridone red, those would mix to make a beautiful secondary color, the orange. You could also, you know, even the gray ochre is not like the most amazing color on its own. It would be a really great way of sort of, what do you call, toning down some of the bright colors that you might have at home or in your palette, because we can create tints of colors by adding white. We can create tones of colors adding gray, and then we create shades by adding black. So that's just a little bit of color theory. I don't know much, but just starting with a couple colors, and if you pick some colors you absolutely love, you can't go wrong, because you can just play around with those and just paint in like monochromatic, just using one color, and that can still really elevate your practice as an artist. So anyway, I'm gonna go take care of my back and enjoy. My husband doesn't usually have days off, so we're gonna enjoy this day off together. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciate you all. Thank you for sticking with me, and I hope to get back into more videos soon.